So let's get into Buccaneers 5 seed at the top seeded Green Bay Packers. Bay of Pigs for all the marbles in the NFC. Cold, snow, awesome. And where you want to start?
Yeah, where do you want to start? You want to talk about Rodgers and their matchup on the Bucs defense, or the other way around?
Let's start with the home team offense. Green Bay, when they have the ball, what should we be looking for?
Well, okay, there's a few things. The first time they played, there was some troubling things you see. Now, both of these teams are a little different, and the Packers, as we know, have become a lot better really the last 6 or 7 weeks, definitely. I think the one thing that jumped out to me about the first game, even though they jumped out to a 10-0 lead, I came away watching it back going, yeah, it was a 10-0 lead, but it wasn't like the offense executed it and they just blew the Bucs off the field and it was wide open receivers and ran the ball. Really, when I started to break it down, I went, man, this wasn't easy. In fact, they got down the field both times just because Aaron Rodgers made some off-schedule plays and unbelievable throws like he does. So it was not a great offensive day altogether. The Bucs D, Mike, as we know, let's just start with this. Do we think the Packers offense can run against this Buccaneers defense? Like, what are your thoughts there?
Well, they're going to have a hard time, especially if Vita Vea is able to play and if he's ready to go. And Bruce Arians, the head coach, has been saying he's in shape, he's been working, and that really puts a wrench in the ability to run inside. And as you said earlier today on PFT Live, good luck running outside with Devin White.
Right.
Ready to clamp down on whether it's Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, whoever. You try to bounce it outside, you're going to get bounced to the ground by Devin White.
Exactly. That's where that to me will be a big component of the football game. I don't think there's any – you can't – no, but I haven't seen anybody run outside on the Buccaneers all year long. First off, JPP and Shaquille Barrett are very good at like kind of setting the edge, and if you do get around them, they're athletic enough to kind of get out there and never let you turn the corner, let alone like those guys. Maybe you can run up the middle. I got to see it, though. I got to see it. Like we said on the show this morning, nobody has run on the Bucs all year except your Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook. I don't know if I can expect that to happen this week, and even though I respect this Packers run game. Here's the other thing that jumps out to me, Mike, and maybe this is where the Packers' approach could be different. The first time around, the Packers went into that game. They were kind of on fire. I believe they were undefeated at that point. Everything they had been doing was just working. It didn't matter. It just was, hey, we're awesome, blah, blah, blah. That was the first time a team gave them some issues. Another thing I said to you on the show today was way too many deep throws, aggressive schemes the first time around. That has to change because I don't think you can sit there and expect to sit in the pocket all day long against this, Buccaneers pass rush, which is another one where I go, how do we feel about that? Do we think Rodgers is going to be able to sit back there all day and throw the ball with this defensive line and all that? I mean, I'm asking you because I don't know the answer either. What do you think?
Well, look, it's going to be a challenge, even though the Packers' offensive line has played very well. David Bakhtiari's not there. He's the highest-paid offensive lineman in league history for a reason, and it puts more pressure on the Packers' O-line to withstand that frenzy that could be created by the Buccaneers. And I really do think, Chris, and I don't want to make it overly simplistic, but I feel like whichever team gets into that we want this more mindset, especially defensively.
Right.
If one of these defenses just becomes hair on fire, passionate, aggressive, damn the torpedoes, who cares if I get injured? There is no tomorrow. I'm going to throw my body around. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to get chippy. I'm going to get nasty. Whoever can capture that, and maybe both defenses do. Maybe it's going to be 13-10. I don't know. But I feel like that's really the challenge. At a game like this, when so many things are equal, who can light that fire? And who can capture that moment? Remember last year when we had Zadarius Smith with us in Miami the week of the Super Bowl. And this was back when the Packers still had this weird, every time they took the show on the road, you had to wonder who's going to show up and what happens. And Zadarius Smith said we weren't ready to play in the NFC Championship game. How can you not be ready to play?
Yeah.
In the game that vaults you to the Super Bowl, the thing you've worked for all year long, the Bill Parcells line that we uttered earlier this week, this is why you lift all them weights. This is why you do all that crap. This is the culmination. And yes, it's 3 hours like any other day, but it's not. And I just feel like whoever brings that greater urgency and zeal and desire to the table, I feel like that's going to be a huge edge.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know, when it comes to that aspect, I have more faith in the Bucs defense being able to capture that craziness than I do, you know, the Packers defense. It just seems like there's more of those guys, whether it's Sue, a JPP, Devin White, like you said, who I think will really, if the coach just goes, hey, you got to go run through that steel wall over there, he'd be like, okay, coach, I'll do it. Oh, I didn't make it through, but I'll try again. I feel like they have more of those guys. I mean, I do. So that's an advantage to the Bucs altogether. Now, the Bucs defense, we saw how awesome they were last week. I don't think they can play that exact same style they did against Drew Brees and the Saints. I know a lot of people, I've heard that, and I've been on a radio, you know, here and there where, you know, I expect to see the same approach from the Bucs defense. Yes, but they got to be careful. They can't be playing bump and run, man-to-man, people all in the box to stop the run against Aaron Rodgers. You know, Drew Brees, you didn't have to worry about the ball going plus 20 yards. You didn't have to worry about that. It's a huge advantage. Aaron Rodgers, you got to defend 20 down to the next 70 yards. You got to defend it because he can hit throws that way. So I have a hard time thinking that aspect. And here's one other little thing, Mike, I'll throw out there. I always look in these matchups for does the coach, Matt LaFleur, in this one, has there been anybody in his coaching tree or anybody he knows that's had to face this Buccaneers defense and do anything? And one thing that came up to me that I just thought was interesting, we talked about the Packers. Can they protect Rodgers? They couldn't the first time around. You know, as I went here and I went, man, the Bucs lost 5 games this year. One of them was to the Chiefs. Yes, big plays, bombs, blah, blah, blah. The other 4 losses, though, were against dink and dunk teams. Teams that took the pass rush kind of out of the game and got the ball out of the quarterback's hands. And teams, to what something you said earlier today, was took advantage of a young secondary, quick, can you figure out how to close this zone and do stuff like that. That, to me, is something I think the Packers can bring to the game plan that they didn't do the first time around. And with my point with the coaching thing, you know, McVay and the Rams against the Buccaneers, Mike, they tore the Buccaneers up with slot Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods short-type throws. The Bears won with all short-type throws. Drew Brees and the Saints, their 2 wins. Short, get the ball out of your hands, quick-type throws. I think that's something to look for in this game for the Packers that might be different than the first time around.
So the longer Aaron Rodgers holds the ball, the better the chance the Buccaneers have to get to him. But that seems to me when he's the most dangerous.
I know.
He'll be backpedaling on his back foot, flick of the wrist, 50 yards, huge play. He's going to want to try to do that from time to time. But your assessment would be timing, rhythm, quick release, get rid of the ball, keep the chains moving, and kind of take the wind out of the sails for the Buccaneers, no pun intended.
Right.
But, you know, the Buccaneers have struggled when they've fallen behind. And they've fallen behind in so many games this year. At one point, I tracked all the games, and it was like even the games they won, they were falling behind. They were down 10 to the Packers in the regular season before it all exploded in their favor. They got to forget about that, and I think they're doing what they can to set that aside. Both teams really need to forget about it, but especially the Buccaneers because, you know, we talked about the 38-3 Saints win over the Bucs from Week 9. You can't let yourself think it's just going to be a continuation of that because then when it isn't, you start thinking it's not our day.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the most important thing to guard against is that mindset that can settle onto one sideline that is it's not your day. It's not your day. It's just like this whispering muse. It's not your day. And they all start to feel it's not your day.
Right.
And that's when the Buccaneers have lost.
Right.
When it starts early and they can't break out of it, and before you know it, it's not their day.
Right. Well, it's almost like the Packers last year in the NFC Championship game. You felt like after the first 2 or 3 drives, they realized, like, whoa, this ain't our day, and it just collapsed on them. Now, the Buccaneers, they did get tougher. I think we both saw that through the month of December and everything like that. But your point is real. It's right. You got to void your memory of that game. This does not matter. This is a different animal, a different place, different stakes on the line. They had the Buccaneers at that point had lost 2 games. That was a desperate point in the year for them. Green Bay was sitting back going, man, we're awesome. Are we the best team in football? So they got caught at 2 different times. Can't put too much into that, but I do think the approach, at least for the Packers offense, has to be a little different. I think the fact that they got to see this Buccaneers D-line and the intensity and size of it, I think that can help them out. But I really look at this in a lot of ways, Mike, and go, I think for the Green Bay Packers to win the game, if I could boil it down to one thing, I'm going to go, it's going to have to be Aaron Rodgers having a special day. I really think that. And there's a lot of pressure on him, as we talked about. But I really think it's going to come down to him, the offense. And I think the offense is going to play a big role in helping out the Packers defense if they want to win against the Buccaneers offense.
Legacy on the line for Aaron Rodgers' first ever NFC championship game at home. When he won an NFC title game 11 years ago, it was at Chicago against Jay Cutler. Tom Brady is not Jay Cutler. Before we flip it over to the Bucs offense, the cold is a factor in this as it relates to that snap. It's not our day, and get me the hell out of here.
Cold hell, yeah, right.
It happens quickly, right? Because the best competitors feel that sense of it's not my day coming in, and they reverse it. That's what Tom Brady does. But the cold accelerates it. I don't want to. I mean, this is too much psychoanalysis.
No,
but I think this is
part
real.
of the game.
The cold gets you to the point where you are, get me the F out of here. It's over. It's done. I want to go home. Get me out of here before I tear an ACL or get some sort of an injury. Let's start the offseason. And that's what the team that starts to feel it slip is going to need to master and understand. And I think Brady is uniquely suited to that because he's been there so many times. He was down 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he didn't say it's not our day. He said it's still our day. Let's go win it. All right.
Right.
So
and to your point, he was down 20-10 in a cold AFC championship game against the Jaguars. He played in so many of these cold games. He will not be affected. And you know what, Mike, I just want to hit on that real quick because I played in Tampa and I've seen it. I've seen when you go to cold weather. Pre-game warm-ups, I will be watching for stuff like that. If you see the Buccaneers players out there in pregame warm-ups, before they put the uniform on, and you see guys with hoodies and all bundled up and crap like that, I'm telling you, I'm going to sit there and go, uh-oh, I'm not sure if I like the way that looks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucs do like almost the Giants, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard thing. Remember how they went out in pregame warm-ups to the Packers with no shirt on to basically prove
how'd
the
that
point?
work out?
Yeah, it didn't work out good. But I would think this is something they're battling in their brain and they're talking about. And I think that's why we saw in Bruce Arians' clip earlier today, he made that 28 degrees ain't cold. It's not cold. I'll tell you, cold. I grew up in the north, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to instill that mentality into his team right now.
I think you can try too hard to make it look like you're not worried about the cold by running around with your shirt off. But I think there is something to be said for that demeanor because the winning team is going to be the team with the stronger let's go take it vibe because the talent is equal enough that either team can win. Either team can win this game. Who wants it? Who's going to go take it? Who's going to claim it? And that's why it's going to be such a great game to watch. All right, let's talk about the Bucs offense for a little bit against that Packers defense. We've seen it evolve. We've seen more no risk it, no biscuit. We've seen more running. We've seen a lot of running this past weekend against the New Orleans Saints. What do you think we're going to see as it relates to what it's going to take to win the game on Sunday?
I think we're going to continue to see that. I think they know this is the way they play. I think 1, 2, Mike, you and I have hit this a few times during the week. The games they've lost too, another thing you can look in common is they got into we're going to shotgun and throw it too much. And then defenses started to blitz and pressure Brady, and he made big mistakes in all of those losses. Really, almost every one of them. It was the same thing. And that's where they've gotten better down the last month. They've balanced, run the ball, max protect Brady, so now he doesn't feel flustered and throw some stupid ball because there's pressure on him. I think we're going to see that. They kind of managed Brady and the offense to a degree last week. It's like they just said, nope, we're going to run the ball. We're not going to let the Saints blitz and pressure, make Brady throw a bad interception, and then we can't come back and win the game. We're just going to kind of stay close, and then we think Brady late in the fourth quarter is going to be clutch and beat you guys. That's kind of what they played. I have a hard time thinking they're not going to come out trying to run the ball as far as the Bucs. The Bucs dominated the line of scrimmage the first game around running the ball the way they're running it right now, and I question the Packers D, Mike. I do. I guess there's a part of me that worries they could get steamrolled by this huge, hulking, big Buccaneers offensive line.
Which has done a very good job in recent weeks. The thing that really resonated with me, Bruce Arians' comments after the win over Washington in the wild card round, when Chase Young was trying to stir that thing up with Tom Brady, and there was a lot of talk about it. And it's not like he was being malicious. He's just excited. That got the attention of the Tampa Bay offensive line. They took it to heart. That's what Arians said. So they were even more determined to play well against that Washington defensive line, and they did. That gave them confidence to play well against the Saints, and they did. Well, of the three teams, Washington, Saints, and Packers, who's got the worst? All due respect. Of those three, it's the Packers.
Yeah.
So they've already shown that they can master the best. This is all rolling in the right direction for the Buccaneers at the perfect time.
Agreed. Exactly right. And I think the other aspect, too, is, I have respect for the Packers are a tougher team than they were last year. We've hit on that a lot over the last month when we talk about them. 8 weeks ago we were going, the Packers have a great record. We're not sure how great they are. By the time we got here to the playoffs, we started to go, damn, no, they're pretty good. They're definitely one of the 4 best teams. There's no doubt about that. They changed our thoughts that way. But even last week to me is concerning, Mike. Like with Cam Akers, right? He had 18 carries for 90 yards. And I know that's not a huge day, but that's not like an awesome Rams offensive line. Nobody is going, oh my gosh, the Rams have so many bulldozers and they're awesome that way. No, it's not that great, okay? And then when you take into account that there's limited things you have to worry about in the pass game, and you can put a lot of eggs into the we're going to stop the run game basket when you play the Rams, and the Rams still had success. My problem with the Packers is they're in the right places, Mike, when it comes to stopping the run, but nobody ever physically dominates and makes a play and makes a tackle for a 2-yard loss or does anything like that. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we defended it. You ran for 5, but we didn't get gashed, so that's good. It was just 4 or 5. And that's not going to cut it this week. And that's what I worry about. It gets to, Fournette and Ronald Jones up the middle, and now they're starting to creep towards the line of scrimmage, and now it's mismatch nightmare, and you got Kevin King on, Mike Evans one-on-one, and Brady strikes a big play and does that stuff. That's my real worry for the Packers defense in the game.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, Antonio Brown if he's healthy. If he's not, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson. There's depth, there's experience, there's trust. Tom Brady trusts every one of those guys when it comes to throwing them the football, and that means something. Look at the weapons he has, better than any weapons he's ever had in his career, top to bottom. It really is amazing. You throw in a great offensive line. You throw in Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones running the ball. They used both of them last week to significant impact. Chris, let's make our picks. I'll go. You want me to go first?
Sure.
I'll go first.
You go first.
I think the Buccaneers are going to win. Now, I have to be true to my preseason Super Bowl pick. I did pick the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. Let's not discuss any of my other picks from September. The only one that matters right now is that I picked the Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl and win it. So I can't abandon them now. They're still alive. And even though they're 3-point underdogs, I think the Buccaneers go into Lambeau Field and they do what Tom Brady was signed by the team to do. They punch their ticket back to Tampa. They become the first team in NFL history to host and play in a Super Bowl in the same year. So I got
where
the
there
Bucs,
can't be any fans there. Yeah.
24.
Yeah.
There will be fans.
Yeah,
there'll
be
fans.
I know.
There'll be fans. There'll be fans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
27-24 Bucks.
All right. Listen, you said a lot of good things there. There's no doubt about that. One other thing I'll just say about the matchup that I just think is important is just as far as the Bucs offense. Can the Packers, to what we were just talking about, can they win first and second down and get the Buccaneers in 3rd and 8 situations where Brady might have to hold the ball, and now their pass rush can get there? Or can the Packers continue to score continually enough to where the Buccaneers can't be balanced and patient all the time? They got to drop back and throw maybe more than they'd like. That, to me, is how the Packers are going to have to win, or Rodgers is going to have an out-of-this-world special day. One of the things I wrote, Mike, after they played in Week 6, on the bottom of my page, I wrote, Packers don't want to see the Buccaneers in the playoffs. Bucs win 9 out of 10 times. I think Rodgers could deliver a special game. I really do in a lot of ways. And I wouldn't be shocked if it happened because we talked about the pressure's on him. But the Bucs are the better team. And I'm going to go with the better team right now. And I think it's a bad matchup for the Packers. I'm going to go Bucs 26-24, winning the game and punching their ticket back home to Tampa.
Why do you pick the more unconventional score of 26? Did you just not want to pick the same score I did?
No, I didn't. I had 26-24. You want to know what I did? I literally said, okay, I think both of these teams are going to score 3 offensive touchdowns. I'm playing the Packers and Mason Crosby miss 1 extra point. I'm the other way around. I'm playing the Buccaneers miss the extra point, and it's Packers 21-20. And then the Buccaneers go down 23-21. Rodgers drives them down late to kick a field goal to go up 24-23. Brady says, au contraire, I have a little more magic left. And he drives them down, and they kick a last-second field goal to win the game and go to the Super Bowl. That's where I'm going with it.
And I understand you can point to coaching and players and everything around it, but at the same time, Brady's got 6 and Rodgers has 1. And at some point, that is a reflection on the quarterback. It just is. For Brady to have 6 and then to go to Tampa and be on the brink of playing for his 7th, that means something. And I think what he brings to that team, beyond the quarterbacking skill, he has brought a rejuvenation to the entire franchise. And we're seeing the culmination of it in what will be the 19th game together with Tom Brady. So we both like the Bucs.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.